Here in Kenya, you find so many people are struggling, but it's just the opportunity that they don't have to leave. But if someone somewhere got the opportunity like the opportunity that I had, they would have gone.
We first aired David Etale's story 3 years ago. Like many Kenyans, he left the country to join the British Army so as to provide for his family.
Like now, I receive so many messages, people asking me how they could join the British Army. So that shows you just the amount of poverty that's here and how people are struggling. Any opportunity that comes about, they will leave. In my case, I would say I took a risk to better my life and to better my family's life.
Unfortunately, he lost his leg in Afghanistan. But just like everyone all over the world, dealing with COVID-19 has not been easy on him. The panic in the UK is too much. He was even pushed down in a supermarket while trying to get a toilet roll. On this exclusive, he talks to us on how he and the people in the UK are dealing with this pandemic. Hi, David Etale. How are you?
I'm fine, fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so if you could start by telling our audience where you are and how the situation is.
I'm in Edinburgh. I'm in Scotland.
Mhm.
Right now, the situation down here is a bit. I can see the number of cases are going up, number of deaths going up too.
Mhm.
And our youngest victim actually
Yeah.
from the COVID-19
Mm.
is 21 years old.
Ooh, that's
And
sad.
yes, it is. It is very sad
Mhm.
because even the parent, when she was talking, she was saying that she didn't have any health complications. She
Yeah.
was really fit and stuff. So
Mhm.
that's why I said that this COVID-19 is scary because I think people are assuming that if you have a weak immune system or
Yeah.
a weak respiratory system, that you think that those are the only people who can get affected, but you
Yes.
just never know until you get it. So I would just like people to stop being ignorant,
Yeah.
you know, and let's stick together and try and protect ourselves as much as we can,
Mhm.
because it's one thing when you're fighting something that you can see,
Yeah.
and it's different fighting something that you cannot see.
Mhm.
Because COVID-19, if you hear so many cases on how people have contracted it,
Yes.
it's totally different. Everyone has got their own different
Mhm.
story of how they think they might have contracted COVID-19.
Okay.
So people really need to be careful and realize that what we are dealing with right now, it's like we're in the whole world, we are at war.
And you are very vocal when it comes to people who are able differently. For your case there in the UK, are you getting the attention you deserve, or do you feel like you've been neglected? Is anyone following up with you to see how you are doing at the moment?
Yes, I'm disabled, and when everything started, I was just discharged from hospital after going my 34th surgery. So I went to the supermarket
Mhm.
and I was going to get a toilet roll, and people were fighting. Someone even ended up pushing me to the ground, and it was chaos. And right now, I'm quite lucky where I am here in the UK, because now as disabled people, we have our own timings to go to the supermarket to go and shop.
Mhm.
We have a supermarket here called Tesco. So what they do is they give from Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So anyone with any disabilities or vulnerable,
Yeah.
they can go there between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m.
Mhm.
That's our only time for shopping,
Mhm.
and I find it's really good because we are receiving text messages, people who are vulnerable, and just not only the vulnerable people, the whole of United Kingdom, we are receiving text messages about the COVID-19, the measures that we are supposed to take.
Yeah.
I just find that's really useful.
Mhm.
So if I want my drugs and my subscription for my
Yes.
tablets and everything, I just go onto a link,
Mhm.
sign up for the drugs, and someone drops them at my door.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think that's something that should be executed here in Kenya. How important would this be, especially in African countries, that we should also consider people who are able differently?
I think this is the right time for the African community
Mhm,
to try and sit down and reflect about their own people, because they are also human beings. It doesn't mean that if you have a disability, you should be excluded.
mhm,
This is the time the African leaders are supposed to sit down and use this time
mhm.
with whatever is going around the world with this terrible virus that we are trying to fight, to
Yeah.
sit down and look how they can help their own people. But at the same time, this is a good time for our leaders to come together and see that how we are supposed to invest more in healthcare, looking after our own people, people who select you to be in those positions. Because right now, everywhere is locked. If you're sick, you cannot travel to the European country to be treated. Many people in Kenya, I do understand, they normally feed their families hand to mouth, you
Mhm,
know.
mhm.
Um, for example, here they've removed some funds where they do help the families that are struggling, and they give them money, you know, and that's what the African leaders should try and do. Not only people with disabilities, but also people who are able-bodied,
Mhm.
you know, if they're not able to meet the needs of feeding their families,
Yeah.
if you put a curfew, they should be able to feel comfortable staying at home and
Mhm.
not risking their lives to go out there and look for bread to feed their family.
Exactly. And there's a looming lockdown that's, there are talks of a possible lockdown here in Kenya. Do you think the citizens here will manage, or do you think it's going to be easy for Kenyans, especially when the government when the government shuts down the country? Do you think Kenyans will survive the lockdown?
You know, that's a very difficult situation,
Mhm.
because you find there are people who are able to feed their families,
Yes.
you know, and you have people
Mhm.
who will struggle to feed their families,
Mhm.
you know. So it's a case of what happens to those people who can't feed their families. If you tell them to stay at home and practice the lockdown, how are they going to feed their families?
Mhm.
Because those people who are able to feed their families,
Mhm.
they can go to the supermarket, they have a salary at the end of the month. But what
Mhm.
about those people who get their daily bread hand to
Yes.
mouth?
And when you speak to your family back here in Kenya, what are they telling you? What are some of the difficulties they are encountering, especially during this crisis?
It's just confusion everywhere. You know, I've spoke to my family, I've spoke to my friends,
Mhm,
and it's just confusion everywhere. Some of them are even asking me, David, our situation is difficult. It's not like the way you people are back in the UK
mhm.
or in European countries where they have these solutions during this crisis.
Yes.
Back in Africa, they're just being told, okay, practice the lockdown, but they're not being given solutions.
Mhm,
So it's one thing practicing something and by giving solutions,
mhm,
and there's another thing of trying to practice something and not
mhm,
giving solutions.
mhm.
I would just like everyone to stick together. This is not the right time where we can start saying, we can start pointing fingers.
Mhm.
Because I believe the greatest humanity in life is to try and preserve life, try and save lives. You know, all of us have humanity inside us, but we have a choice whether to use it the right way or to use it the wrong way.
Mhm.
And I think this is the right time for us to come together. If you
Yes.
see your neighbor struggling, you know, those people with disabilities are surrounded by people who can help them do their shopping and things like that. That's the best way that I think everything should be done. Because
Okay.
right now we cannot blame each other. All of us are fighting for our lives.
Mhm.
So I just think we should all be together. And by being together, we can beat this virus.
My producer tells me you have a new book coming up as well.
Yes, I have a book. It's coming up. We're just about on the finishing touches. But now, since of the COVID-19, everything has stopped. You
Yeah.
know, but when everything has settled down, I have a book coming out, and God willing, I'm coming to launch that book. I'll launch it in the UK and in Kenya, and the funds will go to the project that we are planning to start with my other 11 Kenyan soldiers who are serving the British Army.
Amazing, amazing work. Thank you so much, David. We look forward to talking more about your project when it launches, and we do wish you all the best here from Tuko family.
Thank you very much, Tuko family, for having me. God bless you all.